Hi, everybody. Welcome back to this ongoing series on e-commerce that SiteGround is putting on. I hope everybody is ready to learn. Just to give you a little refresher, we're building an e-commerce site called Fat Beard Pirate Coffee. You can see it at fatbeardpiratecoffee.com. We haven't done much in a little bit on that in a couple months because if you remember, last month we talked about using social media to start building your sales funnel and driving people not only to your site but to your mailing list. And that was all to set up my wonderful special guest today, Amy Hall. And Amy's going to talk to us about building that list and using it properly to drive e-commerce. So without any further ado, I know you're tired of hearing from me. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Amy. Amy, take it away.
Thanks, Cal. Hi, everyone. So we're going to talk about building and using your mailing list for e-commerce. Let me introduce myself. I'm an email marketing strategist, and I am a MailChimp Pro partner and expert. You can catch me over at Twitter at genuineamyhall.com. And I can't stress it enough, for e-commerce, for every site, but for e-commerce especially, email marketing is critical. If you're not doing email marketing, you're missing out. So automated emails are the way to go with your e-commerce site. You're building your list with a subscription form on your website, and you're also building your list because people are purchasing from you. And if you're in the United States, you can automatically add them to your email list. Otherwise, you may need to ask people if they want to be on your email list. MailChimp actually requests that you do that, but not every email marketing platform does. So you're going to take those purchasers and try and get them over to your email marketing list. Now, there's a bunch of different email that you can do with e-commerce, and we're only going to talk about 5 of them today. So the first one, and to me, the most important, because you can get the highest return on investment. So your time investment, your monetary investment are abandoned cart emails, or a series of emails when somebody abandons a cart. May not just be one, it may be 2 or 3 that you're sending. So abandoned cart emails, keep that purchase in mind when a visitor leaves your site. So the other day, this happened to me. I was going in to buy some skincare items, and something happened out in the kitchen. And so I just shut my phone off and went to deal with boiling over a pot that I left and forgot on the stove. So when I got that abandoned cart email, I went back and I purchased my skincare because that was my intention. It was just something that took me away from it. So think about it that way, that you may need just to give people a gentle nudge so that they can go check out. So I do a lot of MailChimp, and especially with WordPress, we're going to talk about WooCommerce. And MailChimp and WooCommerce have an integration. I think it's MailChimp for WooCommerce. It's a MailChimp. There's a patch. And that is perfect for MailChimp and WooCommerce. Sorry, I was reading the comments on the side. So I thought my computer was broken, but good, it's not. All right, so abandoned cart emails have a 40% open rate. That's actually I rounded it down. It was like 41% something and a 28% click rate. 28%. 28%. That means 28% of the people are going from the email to the cart to purchase. Now you're not going to get 100% of that 28, but if you could get 12%, 15%, 20% of that 28%, that's amazing because you're not really doing anything. This is a automated email sequence. You've already set it up. You're doing all the work on the front end, and then you're just letting this go and run. So you don't have to do any work on the back end. You don't need to do anything to get that abandoned cart email to the consumer to buy. So it's an amazing click rate. And that's for all industries. So everything you sell, everything that's sold, that's a 28% click rate for everything that's sold. There's going to be industries that have a lower, and some industries will have a higher. There is a MailChimp has a page that you can go to that will give industry rates. So you can go there and see that. It's actually very, very helpful. Now, whoops. Okay, the next one is upsell offers. So before I dove into email marketing, I managed Bath and Body Works for 5 years. And if anybody knows, it's where you go buy lotions and soaps in the mall. So I did retail management for 5 years. And the one thing that we pushed more than anything else was an upsell. How can we get more dollars out of that customer that was in front of us? So on e-commerce, that's a good thing to do. And there's several different ways to do that. Oops, sorry, wrong way. So upsell offers. In my retail, if somebody bought a soap, I'm going to try and get them to buy a lotion too, right? So a complementary item. So if you're selling a microphone for podcasting, you may want to upsell them for a pop screen. You may want to upsell them for a stand or one of those big, huge boom mic stands, which are super cool. That would be fun to have. So you want to suggest a complimentary item. And when you're going to do this, you could do this in your cart, but also in an email. They're a great way to increase revenue. I can't tell you how much revenue we increased with upsells at the Bath and Body Works and generate repeat purchases. So especially when you're sending an email that has this upsell in it, you're going to suggest it, and now you're going to get another purchase. The other thing to do is to put an add-on or a similar. So we may, oops, that's on a different screen. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. All right, so upsell offers also include free shipping. We're trying to get them to add more products into their cart, or which is what when I went and bought my skincare the other day, this is what I got. If you buy just like $5 more, you can get free shipping. So some of those are going to be on your site, but the free shipping, they actually sent me an email that said, hey, do you want to add on to your order? You can get free shipping if you just buy, I think it was $15.86 more, something like that. I did not, but it's because I know the business. Purchase follow-up. Now, this is an awesome way to get reviews. You're going to send them tracking info. You're going to send them a receipt. When you send them the receipt, you can also send them a little suggested items, like when you bought this facial bar, most of our customers who buy this facial bar also buy this facial oil to go with it. So you're going to suggest items that customers who've bought the first item buy. So you're going to suggest an item that is natural to go with the item that they purchased. And review requests. Review requests are, everybody does Amazon. Everybody knows that you're going to get a review request from Amazon in an email. If you have an e-commerce store, everybody's already programmed to do that review request with Amazon. So send them a review request because they already know they need to do it anyway. Amazon's trained as well. All right, customer loyalty and re-engagement emails. So some businesses are seasonal. Some businesses have are just throughout the whole year. They go throughout the whole year. Some businesses, you'll have a large purchase and then you won't have a purchase for a while. So you may want to try some of these if you have a seasonal where people are going to purchase from you in November, December, which is actually Bath and Body Works. We are very seasonal. Only at the holiday time, people were purchasing gifts. We did most of our sales for the entire year during that time. Somebody just put, I thought this was building a mail list. Someone already shopping on your WooCommerce site should already be on your list. No, that's not necessarily true. So MailChimp does not default put people who've purchased on your site if you're connected to MailChimp. So especially in Europe, they have GDPR and you cannot go automatically on that mail list. So you have to ask them somewhere in the purchase, or when you send them a receipt, or when you send them tracking information, would you like to be on our mailing list? And allow them to get added on the mailing list then. But people who purchase from you are not necessarily automatically on your mailing list. So customer loyalty and re-engagement emails. So one of the other things with e-commerce is when you have somebody who buys from you, you focus on those people who are buying from you. You send them additional emails. You send them a little bit more love because that's where your purchases are going to be. New purchases are harder to get than reoccurring purchases. So a birthday, an anniversary, those are perfect emails. I once put in a bunch of automations for it was a running website, and they sold running jewelry. So it was like Pandora jewelry for runners. And she sent a birthday email and she had an amazing click-through and purchase rate. And a lot of times it was people who were purchasing for a gift, even though they got it on their birthday, they purchased for a gift for a friend, or they purchased for a gift for the holidays. Replenishment. If your store is low on something and people say, please send me an email when it's replenished, send that replenishment email. So I'm looking in the chat, and Nico just said, so is it bad ideas for buyers not to have to register as a user on your website? No, that they need to register as a user on your website. Should also be able to purchase as a guest, but they should register on your website. But you need to specifically call out if you're registering, or here's where you can check to get on my mailing list. You can't just put them automatically on your mailing list. It's against GDPR. So if you're in Europe, it's against the law. You can't do it. You have to have them check a box. And that's when you put it on your receipt that you're sending them. Check this box and get on our mailing list. That's when you put it on your tracking information. Check this box and get on our mailing list. Also, re-engagement, we miss you. Give them a little discount, or if you don't do discount, give them an additional item with purchase. That will help get them back on your site. So promotional offer emails. When you have a new product that's coming out, then you want to send an email to let people know you have a new product coming out. My skincare company, they just sent me an email that says we have this special mousse coming out. So I got that email, and of course I purchased it because I love them. So I keep on getting a lot of in the chat, building a mailing list. For e-commerce, building your mailing list, you should have a sign-up form on your site. You may not have a free opt-in offer, and you may have a free opt-in offer. If you have something like, I just bought a new microphone for podcasting. On the microphone site, the free opt-in offer was how to choose a podcast microphone that's perfect for you. So that was awesome because I could download it. I could read all the information. So if you are doing skincare and you're organic, you may want to have a free opt-in offer that says organic skincare. Why choose organic skincare over the other kind of skincare? And then you'll have people join your list that way. All right, let's go to the next one. We did that one. All right, so I'm going to go into the questions. So the first one I have is, I would love to hear your opinion on MailChimp versus Flowdesk, as we are currently using MailChimp and are thinking of making the switch to Flowdesk. So David, could you go put your question in the question and answers down at the bottom? And same thing, Emma. All right, so it doesn't matter which platform you're using, as long as you're using it. That's the most important thing. Are you going to use a platform? If you don't like MailChimp, if MailChimp doesn't work with your brain, don't use it. Use Flowdesk. But the one thing that you need to look at is, what is the platform's deliverability rate? And that's the most important. MailChimp is number 4 on deliverability rate. MailerLite is actually number 2, and Constant Contact is actually number 3. So just go look at their deliverability rate. That's what I would say. And, use the one that you're actually going to use. Do you have any WooCommerce plugins that you would recommend for mailing list building? So what I recommend is that if you have a platform that you're using, like a MailChimp or Constant Contact, don't use Constant Contact, or MailerLite, see if there's a plugin that patches from WooCommerce to that email platform. That's going to be the best plugin that you can get. But mailing list building isn't built with a plugin, it's built with strategy. So you may want to use a big full screen placemat. You may want to use a ton of forms on your site. I have 4 or 5 forms on my site. I have a footer form, I have embedded forms, I have a lot of forms on my website. So the more forms that you can get where people are at, where they're actually taking action and where they're at, that's where you're going to get a subscription. So you got to have forms everywhere on your site. The next one is from Despina. I hope I'm saying that right. I only use email marketing once, but I've been told by my website might be penalized by Google if the receivers won't open the email and or their address is not used in it anymore. What do you suggest to avoid the issue? So, while this is true, it's very minimal. So that's why I use a platform like MailChimp, so they get penalized instead of you. But if your receivers don't open the email or their address is not in use anymore, that's going to be a bounce, basically. And the more bounces you have, the more black marks you're going to get. So you want to clean your email address. And that's probably if you're purchasing an email address list, you want to clean that before you put it in. And yeah, I don't ever purchase email lists at all, ever. It's not a good idea because you don't know the reputation of the people that you're purchasing the list from. So in my opinion, you always want to use a platform. You do not want to get those black marks on your domain name. You want to get the black markets against MailChimp or Constant Contact or MailerLite. Do you consider e-commerce only for product sales or any type of service sales online? Oh yeah, e-commerce is for everything. So digital downloads. I'm putting e-commerce on my site because I'm going to sell a course. E-commerce is when you have more than one items that you're selling and you want to be able people to purchase more than one item. You want people to be able to put them in a cart. So I do services, but I'm going to use WooCommerce so people can buy a new subscription form for the website and a template for MailChimp, and they need to be able to put those 2 things in a cart so that they can purchase both of them, or they have to go purchase each one singularly, and then there's a friction point, and I'm not going to get that sale. So e-commerce is on my next thing. How do emails from MailChimp fare with spam filters, or does that depend on email content? So emails from MailChimp are fine with spam filters. What you have to look at is the email address. Your email address, number one, needs to be authenticated with your platform. Doesn't matter if it's MailChimp, doesn't matter what platform it is. It needs to be authenticated with your platform. So it looks like your platform is sending as you. And you also need to have DKIM, SPF, and DMARC records on your email address so that people know, the receiver, the inbox knows that it's actually being sent from you, and it's not spam, and it's not spoofed, and it's not phishing. And that's where emails go into the spam filters. It doesn't matter if it's MailChimp or Constant Contact. It has nothing to do with that. It matters about, is your email address authenticated? Is your email address safe to send, or safe for inboxes to receive from? And then a little bit about what you have in your email, but not as much. Not as much. Give the example of microphone and stand, upsell or cross sell. That's an upsell. Cross sell would be like, here's the microphone. We know that you're going to do podcasting, so here's a camera that would go with that. That's a cross sell. You're going to sell something completely different. Do I have any tips for email copywriting, content writing? So the best thing you could do is to test. Test. And write with in the brain of your receiver, not in your brain, right in the brain of your receiver. Your receiver may not know the jargon of your industry or your business. So don't use jargon. Your receiver may use a different word for your industry than you do. So use that word that your receiver is going to use. Don't use your word. Be in the brain of your receiver. Send it to people who are your friends. Send the email to people who are your friends who can read it for you and say, hey, I understood this. I didn't understand that. So I always write, edit, edit 3 times, always. And just be in the brain of your receiver instead of your brain. Here's one with 7. How do I build my list as I build my site? Now, that one's a little bit more challenging, because do you even have a site up? Do you have a maintenance page up? If you have a maintenance page, you can put up a subscription form on your maintenance page. You're not going to get that many subscribers because nobody knows who you are. One of the really good ways to build a site is, build an email list, is with Facebook ads. Facebook ads are awesome for building email lists, especially if you have a free opt-in offer. Like my free opt-in offer is, here's the best practices for email, for your MailChimp template. So if I put an ad on Facebook and I said, are you trying to build a template? It doesn't matter if it's MailChimp. It could be any platform right now, because the best practices are the best practices. That's the ad I'm going to do. Best practices for your email template. And I'm going to send that ad to a landing page. Doesn't matter where the landing page is. It's probably best on your website, but MailChimp has landing pages also. A landing page that gets their email address and also says, now you're signed up for my newsletter. Always first, sign up for my newsletter and get this free download and get this opt-in offer. Okay, I see people are putting the questions in the chat. Can you put them in the Q&As? That would be awesome. So how does MailPoet stack up? MailPoet is on your site. I've never used MailPoet because I've always wanted a platform. I never wanted to use my site as a platform. So I have no idea how MailPoet stacks up, actually. Sorry. Okay, so would you do a quick reprise on best strategies for using social media to build email lists? Number 1, on every single one of your email your social media platforms, you should have a way for them to subscribe. But I do not see that social media platforms, just like going to your Facebook page, that gets a good subscribe rate. What I see is ads. Ads will get you subscribers, but I don't see subscribers coming from Facebook pages, Twitter profiles, that kind of stuff. All right, I'm looking at the questions again. All right, this one. I find MailChimp quite complicated. I need technical info or literally a step-by-step idiot-proof guide setting MailChimp up on your website. I have a lot of stuff on YouTube, Google. YouTube has a lot of stuff on how to set up MailChimp on your website. So that's an excellent way to get info on MailChimp. All right, because I don't require a visitor to register before they check out, I don't know who has prematurely exited the shopping cart. Any advice for me? So I'm going to let Cal take that one. And he'll probably write a blog post about it, because there's nothing you can do with email, because if they're not registering, you're not getting the email address. There is probably something you can do with a pixel and remarketing ads. So that's probably the way to go. But with email, no, you haven't got the email address. There's nothing you can do. So how do you start e-commerce with MailChimp? Is it a plugin? Yes. So the MailChimp for WooCommerce, that's the plugin that you're going to want. Most platforms will have some kind of plugin. The plugin might not do everything that you want it to do. So you may need to look at Zapier or some other type of patch integration kind of thing to get everything that you want done with WooCommerce and MailChimp. Oh, I said don't use Constant Contact. Why not? Because I have a opinion and that's it. I just have an opinion. I don't like Constant Contact. I don't think they keep they're not up. The one thing I really like about MailChimp, and one of the reasons why I stay with MailChimp, is because they're very forward thinking. So the new thing in emails is AMP and dark mode, right? So MailChimp's already solving for dark mode. They're not solving for AMP, because not every email reader will use AMP, but every email reader uses dark mode. So MailChimp is already solving for dark mode in the background and fixing your templates. If you have a MailChimp customized template, without even notifying you about it. So they are just always very technologically, they're very forward thinking, but they turn things out. They give people new items, new features, in my opinion, because before they're ready for prime time, because what they do is they iterate. They don't know how people are going to use it, the feature. And I went to MailChimp Corporate in 2019, and I asked them this question because it makes me crazy. They send out these features that are definitely not ready for prime time. And what they told me was, we don't know how people are going to use these features. People use the features way different than we thought they would. So we let them go, and then we get all the feedback, and then we change them to match the feedback. So it changed fast. That's the really good part, is they iterate really super fast. So in some ways, MailChimp reminds me of WordPress in that instance. Which converts better, a full page takeover or exit intent pop-ups? So full page takeover can be used on mobile, and exit intent pop-up cannot be used on mobile. So it depends on what type of product you have. But if you have any mobile viewers, exit intent pop-up, there's zero conversion with that. So a full page takeover would beat that anytime. And you can time the pop-up on mobile so you can get this. Now talk about get response. Is that a bad one or overkill? I have only used get response once. I didn't think it was bad. I just don't have a lot of people come to me with get response. It was a little clunky in the template builder. What I did was I built a template and then an automation for a person selling nutritional supplements. And one of the things about get response is if you work in a direct sales capacity, like Beachbody or something like that, you can use get response when other platforms won't allow you to use their platforms. MailChimp will not allow you to use its platform if you're a direct mail. And some people sneak through, but it's not really kosher with their terms of service. So I had good, I like to get response, and you just need to look at the deliverability. Their deliverability is lower because they have so many direct sales on there. I see e-commerce being used for free reports. Some marketers mask the e-commerce part of the cart so it does not look like they're buying anything. Is this an effective strategy? Oh, yeah, if people, so the object of e-commerce is to have a cart, right? Otherwise, you're just going to do a one-off with a single button going to the like Stripe or whatever your gateway is. So if they're, I mean, you could do free if they want to download more than one free. Sure, I would think that's an effective strategy. I don't think it would be worse than any other strategy. I would wonder who's doing that, because I would be interested in going and looking and seeing what they're doing. Are there good practices for using cold drip campaigns? I do not do any cold drips at all, so I cannot give you any advice there. I just don't do them. I don't think they're effective. I don't do them. Could this webinar address subscription information services as opposed to selling a product? So your subscription information service is a product. You just need to, I sell services. Each one of my services is a product. I'm still in the retail business in a strange, weird way, because I have to sell my services. I sell my products. So to me, that's a mind change shift. You have to shift your mind and think of your services as products. And then, so if you have this service that you're selling, is there another service that people buy frequently when they buy the first service? Like when they buy a subscription form, do they buy a template also? When they buy a template, do they also buy an automation? It's the same thing. It's just I'm selling services, and the services are my products. Klaviyo. What about Klaviyo? I have never used Klaviyo. I can't tell you anything about Klaviyo. I don't know what their deliverability rate is. And here's one of the things is it's not on the list that I go to look at deliverability rates. So it's either not being tested because it's not a large enough platform, which could be good, or it's not being tested because nobody wants to use it. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about Klaviyo. How can we build an email list without paying for ads? And is this an e-commerce email list or a regular website email list? So one of the things about building an email list is you have to promote yourself. No matter what, if it's an e-commerce site or a regular website, you have to promote yourself. And how do you promote yourself? How do you get yourself out there, right? Influencers are a good way to get yourself out there. And they don't need to be huge influencers. You don't need Kim Kardashian, right? You just need people that you know you, like you, and trust your product or trust your service, that will say, hey, I use this. I really liked it. It's just word of mouth marketing, but it's word of mouth marketing on social media. It's word of mouth marketing via emails also. Also asking, if you have people on your list, asking them to share. Who do you know who would like more information about this topic? Here's a button, click share. But it's tough without doing paid ads. One of the reasons why Facebook is so good is because you can niche it down and send very direct targeted ads. So yeah, it's tough without paid ads. But it's just promotion. How can you promote yourself? Can you get on TV about your item? There's so many ways to promote yourself, but just think about it as, how can I promote my business? How can I promote my product? How can I promote my service? Where can I go? Be on a podcast. Share more on social media. Get on every social media that you can. All right, so I'm looking in the okay, so Jennifer said that she sells tours, so on a regular website. Okay, Jennifer, I'm sorry, remind me of your very first question. I remember that I read it, but so I'm gonna let Jennifer remind me of the first question. And so Wendy says, are lead magnets still in vogue? So lead magnets are awesome because they will get people to sign up to your list. But here's the issue with lead magnets. Are they signing up to your list because they just want that lead magnet or because they want to hire you? So your lead magnet, the job of your lead magnet is to put them into your funnel and then funnel them through along with your follow-up emails to the lead magnet, right? So that's to follow them, push them through your lead funnel so that they purchase. So yes, lead magnets are good, but not just any lead magnet. You have to have the strategy of, this is a lead magnet that's going to sell an item, that's going to tell people how to best work with me or how to best do how to a lead. So one of the things about my lead magnet is it tells people how much is involved with creating a template. So they get, some of them get overwhelmed and then they come purchase the template from me. But the object of a lead magnet is to push them down the sales funnel. So sell them, sell them, sell them. So you're going to have additional automated emails after your lead magnet that's answering the questions that they would ask. So what questions do you get? Thanks, Jennifer. So what questions do you usually get? Answer those in your subsequent emails. Give them more information about, educate them on the product or the service that you're selling, or like I educate people about MailChimp, so that they get further down the sales funnel, so that they actually will become a buyer. Not all lead magnets lead to a sale, and the object is to have that lead magnet lead to a sale. So Jennifer said that her question was about building email lists without paying for ads, and that she doesn't have an e-commerce site. She has she sells tours. So honestly, if it were me, I would send a lead magnet, or I would have a lead magnet that just had highlights of all the different tours. Like if you wanted to take a tour of Spain, here's how you could do, here's what you can do in Spain, and just all the wonderful things that you could do in Spain. Get them drooling about it. That would be so awesome. Get them drooling about it, and in that lead magnet, and push them down the line. That's what I would do. So Gideon says he sends automated transaction emails from his site. Thanks for your order, to specific customers, not a list. Is this dangerous? No, that's the best thing you can do. How can I tell if I've been marked as spam? So I'm assuming that you're sending those automated transactional emails from like something like WooCommerce. Like those are generated by WooCommerce. I do not know if WooCommerce will allow you to see the spam rate, but if you have those transactional emails generated from something like Mandrill, in MailChimp's single transactional email platform is called Mandrill, you'll be able to see what your spam rate is, how many people mark you as spam. So it's going to be depending on what platform you're using and the plugins that you're using. It's just, and I would think that that's not going to be a very spammable thing. What's a good lead magnet plugin for WordPress or WooCommerce? I never use a lead magnet plugin. Never, ever. I put my form on. It's just a subscription form, and in the text of my subscription form, it tells you what you're signing up for, or gives you a here's what you'll get kind of thing. And then I put my PDF in. You can either put it in your website or you can put it in your email platform. I actually do both. And then when people click the send it to me, I don't use the word subscribe because that's actually a negative in people's minds. I have a send it to me. It goes to the page with a download, right? So it's just a link that sends them to the page with the download. And then I send an email also with that download. So I have them both ways. I've got it. So they get that immediate gratification of getting that download, and then also the email that they can keep forever and ever and ever, which a lot of people do. All right. I think I'm all done with the questions. All these other questions in here were like duplicate questions. And I don't see any in the chat. Oh, MailPoet claims 98.5% deliverability rate. That's awesome. That's a really good deliverability rate. So MailPoet's probably excellent. But can you do automations in MailPoet? All right, Cal, are you there?
I'm here. That was wonderful, Amy. Thank you.